I'd like to now introduce Bruce Poon-Tip, founder and CEO of Gap Adventures. Bruce will talk about his company's sustainable and responsible tourism and travel practices, as well as Planet Terra, the nonprofit organization established by Gap Adventures that is committed to supporting small communities all over the globe. Bruce Poon-Tip.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? A lot of Olympic energy. It's great to be here in Whistler. My idea we're sharing this afternoon is about tourism, obviously, but specifically about our company and how we incorporate, I guess, a unique business model into the idea of sustainability. So let me set up a bit about what tourism is facing today first. I know I've got quite an educated audience here today, but let me just tell you what we're facing today as a tourism industry. So, according to the UN World Travel Organization, 866 million international tourists traveled in 2008. And by 2020, according to the UN World Travel Organization, they're expecting 1.6 billion travelers. So it gives you an idea of what's expected in terms of the growth of travel. Travel is becoming cheaper and easier than ever before. With the discount airlines and the way the travel industry is going, people are traveling more and more, and they're saying by the year 2020, 1.6 billion people will travel. And what's being done in order to host all of those new travelers? The problem we have is that of $100 spent on a vacation by a tourist on a tour, only $5 actually stays in country. So this is the issue that we face on the international side. So I'm representing a company that runs trips all over the world. We have tours in over 100 countries, over 1,300 tours, and we run trips all over the world. And the idea that tours being run where only $5 stays in the country is a foreign idea for us. And so we started the company back in 1990 with the idea of changing travel through fearless innovation. And the idea of changing travel, you have to go back to 1990 in order to understand what we were doing. It was very different before Google and the internet. But changing travel wasn't just about changing the industry or changing how people looked at travel or researched travel, but it was also about people changing while traveling and offering an experience that was different and unique and would cause change. So if we can go back to 1990 to set up my talk here, 1990 I always considered the low in the tourism industry. That was the industry where the cruise industry was growing at a rapid pace. There was a race to build bigger and bigger ships. Can anyone remember this when companies used to actually advertise, don't book yet because we're going to have a bigger ship next month. There's a 2,000 passenger ship coming, a 22 passenger ship coming. Resorts were getting more and more inclusive. And for some reason, the marketing was so great that the consumer believed for some reason having more people on a ship was a great thing. It was one of the greatest marketing scams in our history of tourism, I'll tell you. And resorts became more and more inclusive, enclosing people more and more, actually having shopping areas where you wouldn't have to go out shopping, making them larger so you'd have everything you need. So the business model, quickly, before we, and I'd like to show you some of the examples of how we operate our business, but our company is all about triple bottom line, about incorporating people, planet, and profit. We all know how the success of a business is gauged on profit. We learned that in business school. Your kids probably know that when a company is profitable, it's successful, and when it gets more profitable, it becomes more successful. A triple bottom line company equally engages on the people and planet, and by your mere existence as a company, how you measure your success as a business. So actually having balance sheets on the people and planet as well with your business to gauge how successful your company does. And as your company grows, those programs have to grow as well. So you have to have ways of gauging that. So just in definition, triple bottom line captures an expanded spectrum of values and criteria for measuring organizational and societal success, economic, environmental, and social growth. I'm pointing it at the screen, but that probably means nothing. It should be over there. So the business model for us it's beyond us as a company. So my idea we're sharing is about a business model that engages people and creates a company that wants to create change. Our core values are 5 simple values as a business. and all we do to our people. Our challenge is the fact that we have thousands of people that touch our brand every day all over the world, and we have to keep everyone on the same page. I find it very easy when I meet CEOs that have everyone in the same building, and they have to lead everyone in the same building, because I think that would be the easiest job in the world, and I can't wait till I can do that one day. But the idea that you have people all over the world and you have to engage them all at the same time and get them all delivering the same experience and believing the same core values, I think is something that is also facing Whistler as well, in terms of keeping to a strict set of core values and executing them. But our main purpose and our main goal as an organization is to change people's lives. And that's what we do, and that's what we're committed to as an organization. It's about engaging our customers beyond travel. And we've always said that travel is a big part of what we do, and it's the product that we offer. But I believe that a big part of sustainability is about engaging people beyond the issue. It's about wanting to make change. It's about having a group of people that collectively desire and want to do something different. And for us, it's about changing people's lives and us becoming a lifestyle brand and engaging our customers and our travelers way beyond travel. So let's start with some of the projects that we do and how we started. I'd like you to meet Delphine. Delphine is in the Amazon in Ecuador, and he is who I met in 1990 when I decided to start the company. So to give you an idea, there was no fax machines or internet, email. When our first group arrived, I actually mailed him a letter, but he didn't have an address. So I kind of just mailed it to the nearest town and told someone to walk it out into the rainforest, only to realize he probably couldn't read it, so someone had to also translate it to him. So Delphine, I said, I'm going to bring a group into your, I was there in October. I said, I'm going to be here in March with a group of people. We're going to stay in your village. There was no accommodations. We had to sleep in sleeping bags on the ground. This is going to be my first experience. Again, you have to understand, this is 1990, going way back before how we know travel today, when Nirvana was the best new artist, if anyone can remember that time. And now you hear them on classic rock and shed a tear. I do all the time anyways. And so Delphine didn't know what we were on about, didn't know why people wanted to come into his village. And the story goes, I didn't see Delphine again until last June, 20 years later. So we came in 1990, and 20 years later, or it was 19 years later, last June, I went to see Delphine again. Never seeing him in between, sending him groups every month for 20 years. He's never missed one group, never failed to deliver the service to our customers, and in 20 years, has 100% satisfaction rate amongst all of our customers for the service and visits he offers in his village. With the only exception is he did a welcome ceremony for all of our groups that involves spitting in people's hair and sucking out the spirit. We have to tone that down. So here is some of my pictures of my visit to Delphine and his village 19 years later, and seeing the impact that we've had as a company on how we've changed their lives. This is Delphine's family, and we can see over time they have plumbing in the community now. They have a small little cabin which they house our customers in now. They're not sleeping on the ground anymore in sleeping bags. And they still have no electricity, but they've also built a school in the area where before they had never considered. There was no school and there was no way of educating the students. And for the first time, that gentleman that's standing right beside me in the blue tank top there, he graduated from university. So going from having no school at all to having a school system, to him to be able to go to school, is a clear example of impact from our groups of 20 years of visiting their community has had on now supporting 6 communities in the region. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, it is quite awesome. I've got more. Wait. So do the right thing as an organization. So we were so fixed on doing what we could. We founded our own foundation, the Planetera Foundation. And the Planetera Foundation is a separate organization that is geared to giving back to the communities, which has made our company successful. I often refer to them as Frankenstein because I created them and they're coming back to kill me, mind you, but they're doing great work. They're like almost our in-house police system within the organization, and they create some of the great projects that we do within the company. So they also do volunteers. They spearheaded all of our volunteer programs around the world, which last year National Geographic gave one of our tours, one of the top 25 tours, our Cambodia wheelchair program, our stove making program in Peru, or some of our African volunteer programs. So I'm going to go through Peru as a case study of what a company like ours, who's a triple bottom line company, what we do as an organization when we look at developing business and community projects. Let's take case study number 1. I'm just looking at Peru because we have over 30 projects around the world. I can't go through it all. Peru is our largest destination. To give you an idea of our size in Peru, every passenger that goes, we're the largest operator on the Inca Trail in the world. Every passenger that goes on the Inca Trail gets a permit, and they count every passenger that goes. We consume 30% of the global permits on the Inca Trail. The nearest number 2 is single digit, to give you an idea of the size of our operation down there. Over 200 employees just service our Inca Trail operations. We drive through an area that has 0 employment for women. So we identified a problem, which was the women, the younger generation are not weaving. And they're losing their traditional patterns because the younger generation is not weaving. And that is where all their storytelling and history is in their weaving and their patterns. So we developed the Women's Weaving Co-op right in the middle of the region where we drive all of our passengers. And the Women's Weaving Co-op has been a massive success. We were able to employ 60 women at first who were going to weave all day. This is the plot of land. It is, you see the goalpost there. It was a soccer field. It wasn't glamorous to start. But that was our first ability to hire women to weave all day to teach the younger generation and be able to pass their stories and their history down through their weaving by teaching the younger generation. But the great part about it is we incorporated it in our programs in order for us to have our passengers all go through and consume the products and buy the weaving. This was a remarkable project, and everyone thinks, well, it did good, it created jobs, it did all those kind of great things. But the triple bottom line brilliance of this project is the key differentiator it created for my business. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to run an Inca Trail program, and hundreds of companies around the world offer Inca Trail programs. We're no different and we're not unique. As a business owner and entrepreneur, I'm constantly striving for differentiation. How our product's going to be different. The Women's Weaving Co-op is what creates that differentiator for us. Suddenly we have something that no one else does and offer something that no one else does. And the first day we opened the Inca Trail programs, all of our competitors drove up with their tour buses. Can we stop by the Women's Weaving program? And I said, no, get the hell out. You form your own Women's Weaving program. And so it raised the bar of our industry as well. And that is the brilliance of triple bottom line thinking, because it created something that for profit business, but at the same time created jobs and created employment for local people. An example of that as well is our Street Kids Home in Peru. So as we've become very popular in the last 5 years, we're getting more and more mainstream travelers for the first time. So people, when we read evaluations for the first time, it's, I was in Florida last year, and now I'm in Tibet with Gap Adventures. I can't believe it. We'd never heard that in the last 20 years, how the mainstream traveler is suddenly becoming an adventure traveler. And the first thing that we're hearing from people is that, you know, I really enjoyed my trip, I really enjoyed Cusco, but it was so poor. There were so many poor people there, and it really bothered me. So as a for-profit company, you would say, well, I can't control poverty in Peru, and I can't control the weather. Well, I think I can control poverty in Peru. So we started the Street Kids Home in Peru to get the kids off the street. 60 kids live in the Street Kids Home now. And last October, we were able to raise money fully through our fundraising, through our travelers, and through various programs we put on at our office. We raised enough money to actually buy the house for the community as well. That house cost $170,000, and we've given them a 100-year free lease to run the community project with the kids in Cusco to get the kids off the street. We're trying to increase the number now. We're running Love in Action, if anyone wants to, on March 17th, Love in Action, which is also going to go towards some of these programs we do with Planetara. But as well, while we don't incorporate all of our groups to visit our Street Kids Home, we have volunteer programs, and it is incorporated into our business, but it also answers the needs of our business, which is creating a better experience for our travelers. Last example in Peru. So we're the largest operator on the Inca Trail, and we have a problem. Every time we move all of our business to one company, they become massive, and suddenly the problems ensue. We get letters of people not being paid fair trade wages, taxes not being paid. We tried numerous times over the last 10 years. We've moved to 3 different companies, and they become so big that it's not manageable because of the amount of business we put through the Inca Trail. The last solution was to split our business into 5 different companies. And then as a business entrepreneur, we got no consistency of product. Some were good, some were average. The equipment levels were different. The tour leaders and guides, were different. They offered different experiences, how they did their briefings at the beginning, at the end, how they interpreted the Inca Trail. All of those things were different. We had no control of the quality of our product and the consistency of our product. So we went to the government and we asked for our own permits for the Inca Trail and became the first Western company to get our own permits on the condition that we only hired local people. And this will give you an example of working with the Inca Porter Project, which we were to actually train local people, recruiting from areas that had 0 to no employment only, and bringing people to employ and operate all of our Inca Trail operations. And one of our graduating classes of people that operate and run on the Inca Trail for us. So again, this is an issue where we see a problem, we have an issue. I want consistency of product as a business owner, but this gives me the ability to do it in a way that creates jobs, gives me, it was never to offer, to get a cheaper price on the Inca Trail. It was never to try and somehow do anything different except create a consistent experience for all of our passengers and control the quality of the product. And we're able to do that. So about creating happiness in community is one of our core values. So how do you do that? In Tibet, for instance, last year, we raised money through our travelers, through Planeterra, and we were able to fly in 60 doctors and nurses into Tibet and restore the vision of 300 Tibetans in 10 days with surgeries, eye surgeries. Love in Action on March 17th is trying to raise a larger amount of money, and we're trying to actually send in 80 doctors and nurses and take 500 surgeries, do 500 surgeries in 15 days. Coming up later this year. That's one example of how we view creating happiness in community. And when you do great things, people notice. This week, we got a humanitarian award from the Tanzanian government. Sound kind of weird? I thought it was weird when they called me from the Tanzania saying, Gap Adventures is getting a humanitarian award for our work in Tanzania. And that's from our water program, putting wells into villages in Africa, as well as our volunteer programs in Africa, as well as our education and reading programs, and also a World's AIDS Day, which we started in Tanzania, educating people about AIDS. And that was really the clincher for us when they were reviewing our applications for the humanitarian award. But the conundrum of tourism, ladies and gentlemen, is that for the world's 40 poorest countries, tourism is the 2nd largest source of foreign exchange after oil. So everyone talks about tourism, whether it's a problem and how tourism is supposed to be handled, or whether you should slow it down, or whether people shouldn't travel, whether it's carbon emissions, or whether it's not creating jobs, or the fact that $5, we must have won a medal. Okay, $5 only stays in the country. You know, I'm not someone, as an entrepreneur, I might stand out a bit because I'm not one that kind of actually looks at problems as opposed to finding solutions. But what I do know is when it comes to looking at solutions for problems, I don't think that the only people that would be affected by tourism slowing down is the 40 poorest countries in the world. And I'm a firm believer that tourism has a huge hand in conservation. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, I'm asked to come and speak in Miami. I was in Haiti last week. I got a chance to go to Haiti last week to visit there and drop off supplies. And I've been asked to come and speak in Miami for 2 weeks about how tourism and volunteerism will aid in the development of Haiti. And I'm a believer that tourism not only can create peace, but can create sustainability. Tourism has, done right, however, tourism is extremely powerful and can be a powerful force for conservation. And on a business note, however, our company, on how we operate, on how we kind of run our business model, it's all about doing the right thing. And I'm a believer that for those of you who run businesses in ecotourism or run businesses in sustainable tourism, I'm a believer that when you do the right thing, people find you, people follow you, people are attracted to your company outside of the programs that you offer, and they're engaged on a higher level. And for us, it's all about engagement. And I leave you with that today. I got to do one of these for the people back in my office who are also dedicated to changing people's lives, and I thank you very much for your time.